Alright, what is up YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys today with another retro deck profile, and of course it is for Shaddoll. And this time it is time to bring in the clowns, because Shaddoll Performage is what's going to be taking today's video. Today's video. And you guys know I had talked about wanting to do more than one deck profile for Shaddoll, and of course this is going to be the second variation, because Shaddoll is such a massive impact on the game, and I could not leave out the second variation of it. I could potentially do a third with the artifact engine, but then I also remembered I don't have ignitions because they didn't get reprinted, and I don't even know if I have any. No, I have no ignitions. So yeah, that was a thing. And funny enough, the trap trick structure deck only gave us sanctum. It never gave us ignition. So that was the thing. So yeah. So I'm gonna have to skip out on that variation of Shaddoll. But this variation of Shaddoll is bringing in the clowns, and this is literally when the Clown Blade engine came into fruition. But it's not going to be completely 100% all of the Clown Blade cards. I'm definitely going to take advantage of the Performage portion of that engine, and then just basically everything that you would need to make the deck what it is. There are some things I would suggest to you guys if you're playing this, and trust me, there's a lot of things you can easily suggest for Shaddoll and for Performing Power setup. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the monster lineup, and this is probably the second heaviest amount of monsters I've ever played in a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, next to playing, Gallus. So, starting off are the Shaddoll engine. We're running 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast, followed by 2 copies of Shaddoll Skalmata, 2 copies of Shaddoll Dragon, 2 copies of Shaddoll Hedgehog, and 2 copies of Shaddoll Falco. So, that is the Shaddoll engine. Then we're going to move on into the clowns. We're going to bring in the mages. We have triple copies of Performage Damage Juggler with double copies of Performage Hat Tricker and double copies of Performage Trick Clown. Alright, then for the last of the supporting cast, we have triple copies of our boy, the Mathematician, followed by double copies of Effect Veiler, double copies of Maxi, 1 Glow Up Bulb, and 1 BLS. And that is it for the main deck monsters. Now we're going to go into the spells. Simple spell lineup. It's triple copies of course, Shaddoll Fusion, followed by triple copies of El Shaddoll Fusion, 1 Regeki, because that did come off the list at that time, and 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Hold on, just want to make sure this is all set up. Alright, then moving on from there, let's talk about the trap cards. And it's simply 2 copies of Sinister Shadow Games, 2 copies of Shaddoll Core, and then 1 Torrential Tribute and 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. And that is it for the trap cards. Now we're going to move on into the extra deck, because that was a 40 card main. Let's go into our 15 card side. We got triple copies of our girl, the boss monster of the Shaddoll archetype, the mother. We got El Shaddoll Construct, followed by the next best and most popularized Shaddoll monster. There's 2 copies of Shaddoll Winda. Then we got 2 copies of the big girl, El Shaddoll Shiginaga. Then we have 1 Performage Trapeze Magician, 1 Castell Skybuster Musketeer, 1 Evil Sworn Exciton Knight, 1 Digusto Emerald, and 1 101 Silent Honor Arc. For the Synchro monsters, 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon, 1 copy of Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, and 1 copy of Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree. So that rounds up all the extra deck cards, and that is a total of 15 extra deck monsters. And now we're going to move on into explanation. So the engines themselves really did have to take a toll on each other because there was so much to fit into this. Literally because I did run a very small Shaddoll engine at the time because most of the Shaddoll stuff was really starting to lose its value after everything was getting hit. I mainly just waited for reprints because that was just the easiest thing to do. And luckily there was a Shaddoll structure deck, so that helped out even more. So yeah, we got to start off with the Shaddoll engine. The double copies of Beast because Beast is draw power. When sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you draw one, but when flipped, draw two cards, then discard one. Great for the engine because I'll trigger off a lot of the discard effects that many other Shaddoll monsters have. The next one is Shaddoll Skalmata. This is simply just a searcher for most of the Foolish Burial for the Shaddoll cards. When it's up to the graveyard by an effect. And then on top of that, when it's flipped, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. The destroying your opponent's monster thing is kind of niche, but it's mainly just so that it's an option of removal if needed. Now we're speaking of removal, and we're going to talk about Shaddoll Dragon, where Dragon's effect is when flipped, it can return the monster on the field to the hand, but if it's sent to the graveyard, it's able to destroy a spell or trap card that's on your opponent's side of the field, which is great because it allows you to clear out a lot of the nasty things that you would have to run into, while also giving you the benefits of a 1900 beat stick that can also been flipped and return things as well. The double copies of Hedgehog. Hedgehog's play gimmick is to be able to add Shaddoll spells and traps from your deck to your hand on its flip. And when it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to add a Shaddoll monster from your deck to your hand. So it is that manipulation. Excuse me. There, while also still sustaining the ability to search out for our spells. Most of the time, you're just using this card just to recruit your Shaddoll monsters. Whether it be Skalmata, Falco, Beast, Dragon, or just something to help to that kin. So then, speaking of Falco, let's talk about the only tuner in the archetype. On flip, you can set summon any Shaddoll monster from your graveyard and put it face down defense position. Then its effect, when it's sent via card effect, is to such summon itself in face down defense position. So that leaves you in ways of getting a lot of your monsters in your graveyard back onto the board, so you can exceed, synchro, and do all the crazy shenanigans that you need to with them. All thanks to Falco. It's funny though because when we look at Shaddolls have none of their own monsters for a synchro summon. I thought that was very odd. So it was like the archetype that has a tuner, but it's based on fusion, and they didn't give it a synchro. Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it? All right, well, we're going to move on from them, and now we're going to talk about our Performance Mages. So remember, a lot of the Performance Mage stuff definitely had to be hit later on because it was just chaotic. But one of the most chaotic pieces to it is this guy here. Starting us off is Performance Mage, the Damage Juggler. So Damage Juggler can be discarded during either player's turn when an effect would activate to inflict damage. You negate the damage, and if you do, destroy that card. Then during either battle phase, you can discard it to reduce the battle damage that you would take to 0. You can banish this card from your grave to add a Performance Mage monster from your deck to your hand except for a copy of itself. So yeah, you had a lot of effects attached to the Damage Juggler, but all of them were very useful to the point where, yeah, this card was a searcher, a damage negator, an easy light target, just graveyard setup, monster searcher. They had to deal with Damage Juggler as soon as possible, but he's back. It's another prophet he used to be. Great climb into cards is of Hat Tricker, where there are 2 or more monsters on the field, you set summon this card from your hand, so that's literally not too hard. Then it absorbs damage, which is great. I think up to 3 times. And it buffs itself. No, it maxes out at 3, but then after that, makes all the battle damage that you would take 0. And then if it has 3 counters on it, its attack and defense will become 3,300. It's rare that you ever get that much on it, but just having an easy flutter monster to help you synchro and exceed and even be used as fusion material is great. And then, of course, the big star of the show is this guy here, the Trick Clown. whenever it's sent to the graveyard, you just summon this card from your graveyard to the field. It has 0 attack and defense, but this thing is a level 4 spellcaster. That's also a light attribute, who can only activate this effect once per turn. But that's perfectly fine, because at that point, you're going for a combo, or you just want to sit there and enjoy the view of chaos that ensues with the 3 of them. And I didn't want to run too many other Trick Clown, because the Trick Clown's effects are hot once per turn. The damage jugglers aren't too much of an issue because they're just free fodder. And then the damage jugglers basically carrying most of the work. So, alright, that is it for the clowns. Alright, and now let's go ahead and move on to all the non-clown monsters. In 1 second, because everything is discombobulated. There we go. Mathematician to help fill out the grave, especially because you're gonna have a lot of cards in this deck that have trigger abilities when they're sent to the graveyard, especially the monsters. So triple must have in the deck. Then you have the copies of your hand traps, Effect Veiler and Maxi. I do believe Ghost Ogre was right after her, but Ash was getting ready to hit the scene on her own. It was a nice rude awakening coming up for the hand trap lineup. But Veiler and Maxi did everything they could. Even Karibo. Karibo was like our first hand trap. These two are really defining the term of hand trap. Because Veiler was negating monster effects. Maxi was drawing cards for you to help draw into the effect Veiler so you can negate stuff. I think Maxi at a point almost at the point where he had to be hit because of the whole Maxi challenge situation. Which I think he was. So correct me if I'm wrong, but if so, there was only one Maxi. You can easily swap it out for like some other cards. Maybe a third Veiler if you need to, and max out the Veilers. Yeah, max out for the light monsters. Alright, then from there, we have the one glow up bowl because tuner. Easy rank 7. No, easy, low level synchro monsters you can get to next to glow up. Some of your different cards help send glow up to the grave, then glow up's ability to send cards to the grave to summon itself. Yeah, glow up was definitely a great ascension to this. And in case, because of course chaos, we rocked 1 BLS. Alright, moving on into the spells. Of course, this is Shaddoll, so you have your fusions. You have your El Shaddoll and you have your regular Shaddoll fusion. Quick play on one, Foolish Burial setup on the other. And remember, it took a while for these cards to get hit because of how overpowering they both were. And must has it 3 in Shaddolls, period. And then the 1 Raigeki and the 1 Foolish Burial. I was going to add an instant fusion just to help speed up the process of getting Wunda. But I had completely forgot if fusion was at all at 1 or something. Excuse me. To really play around with them. But if anything, instant fusion could be in here just to survive it. But yeah, monster removal. That's one-sided. And you have more graveyard setup thanks to Foolish. Going into the trap cards, the Sinister Shadow games in the Shaddoll Fusion. I mean the Shaddoll Core. I definitely think Core should have been built at 3 just because it has access to all the attributes. But the Sinister Shadow games can really help out flipping your Shaddoll monsters face up, having their effects treated, sending them to the graveyard to trigger other abilities. Yeah, with Sinister Shadow game. Even through its end point. Then we're moving on to just the 1 bottomless and the 1 torrential just to help out where anything can't clear out. Alright, and then moving on from there is this extra deck. You have your boss monster, Lovely Shaddoll Construct, sending cards from the deck to the grave, being able to destroy monsters that were special summoned before you even go into the damage step. Recycling your own spells and traps with Shaddoll in it. Construct is just a beast. The second beast, of course, is Winda, who limits the special summons, of course, and has the ability to, be able to damage my card back. And just an all-around beast as well for its recovery. Shiggy Naga, if you ever wanted a wall, Shiggy Naga is definitely that wall. She is that girl. In 1 Earth Monster, 1 Shaddoll is not too hard. Sitting on a 3K body with 2600 defense and being able to negate the abilities of Special Summon monsters. Yeah, definitely thanks and shout outs to the lovely Shiki Naga. Greista and them can easily be put in here if you would like to, but my space was very limited in terms of trying to put them in. So that's that's Wendy, Shiggy, and Khan. So why don't we go ahead and move on to all the Shaddoll support cards. Trapeze Magician for damage and mitigation with the damage with the clowns. Castell for removal, that isn't distraction. Exciton Knight for removal. Massive removal at that. For recovery with Dagusto Emerald. Monster Snatching with 101. The Synchro variant, of course, well, you don't have to run these synchros, but I'm running these synchros just because. Black Rose is here to nuke the field. Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree, is just a great defensive monster. Trishula, who we love and adore, to get rid of cards on the field, in the hand, and in the graveyard. The only thing is that, of course, Trishula's effect is our hard West Brigade, so no crazy spam there. Most of the engine here that you see is basically what you can pick up. If you got the Force, take advantage of them. If you got the Synchro setup, take advantage of it. One thing that I want to leave, and I'll probably leave in the comment section though, is, there's tons of ways you can run this variation of Shaddolls. You can run it with more stuff here, more stuff there. So many different things that I could easily recommend in terms of just having some fun with Shaddoll, because Shaddoll is just one of those fusion archetypes that you just can really have fun and just let loose. So I'll definitely be leaving a list of cards that you need to put in here. Stuff like Forbidden Last, Forbidden Chalice, Vanity's Emptiness, Master Key Beetle combo. God, there's so many different things you can easily do. So don't let that stop you. And if there are any suggestions, I definitely don't mind giving them, as well as let you guys know what things I ended up putting in my Shaddoll deck further on. Until I mostly played it digital, but then I moved on and played Performage and Friends, because that was like butt ass cheap till you got to that shit. But that's for a different video. But with that said and done, everybody, it's time to wrap up. So let me know what you guys think about Shaddoll Clowns. What was your favorite deck of 2015, and what stuff were you rocking in 2015 at that point before the rise of the second wave of Pin, and of course Pepe? So with that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel to help me out tremendously. Hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content to the channel. My social media links are in the description box below. And with that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. HPJ signing out. Take care.